Welcome to Deep Ministry. We've been reading the Christ letters. And if you normally join me, thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you all for your support. And tonight we have, uh, just like every weekend, just like every live, um, we want to go deep, 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 deep. And I think tonight we're going to go real far, real far. When the Bible said deep, call it unto deep, it's gonna be deep. So I have to start this out by saying, giving everyone warning, please. The words what you're gonna hear tonight can be stressful for you if you haven't heard it before, can be a little mind bubbling. So guard your mind, guard your mind, guard your understanding. Please do your work, do your own work, not because you hear it on deep ministry. That doesn't mean it's gospel. You are a divine being. Please make sure you do your work. Do your work. You're connected to that divine source. Ask your higher self questions on what you hear tonight and take because this is gonna be deep, deep, deep tonight. Okay, so welcome, and we're reading the Christ letters. We're on letter 4B, and tonight I'm gonna start out with something a little different. There's a video I find online, and I think this is where I think Christ is trying to take us. We're on the section where Christ talk about universal consciousness and divine consciousness. He hasn't explained what divine consciousness is yet, but last week he went into universal consciousness. So I found this video online. I'm gonna share it before we go into the reading because somehow um, it resonates with my spirit. And it's real deep and it's mind-boggling. So have to you have to understand it. You have to do your research to understand what this man is trying to say. I've been listening to him. And it's simple, but it's deep. What he says is very simple. It sounds simple, but it's deep. Sounds simple but it's deep. So this what he's about to say somehow remind me of what Christ is trying to teach us about universal consciousness and who we truly are. Who we truly are. All right. And this is his channel. I'm going to leave this link in the description box when I post this video later. And his channel is The Beauty of Your Existence. And I think he has a book. I don't think he's done a book. He'll mention the book during it.
Think about this. So wild. Most things that you think exist do not. So, if you believe something exists outside of nature, the reality around you, meaning the fabric, the air, the skin, your body, everything. If you think something exists outside of this, you're just in this crazy illusion. Like, first of all, how crazy is that? What a odd statement. But there is only motion and consciousness in this entire universe. You can deduct this down, and this will be the answer. I guarantee this. And so, nothing exists outside of this. So, who are you? Do you believe in your name? Wouldn't that be absolutely wild if we actually believed in our name? I'm not my name. I know that I am just nature becoming aware of the universe or itself. That's very simple to understand. But we have beliefs otherwise, and this is just one small one. This is the one I really want the world to hear. We have these ego-like perceptions of ourselves. But you too, look at your shape. You are just energy in the path of least resistance, now aware of itself. That's all. That's all you are. Look at my cool shirt, by the way.
I mean, like,
Toroidal field,
that's-
sacred geometry. That's what I'm talking about. We are that. We are just.
okay, I'm gonna start over. My screen went pure black. I know if you're watching me, you saw it, but hey, I am loved by God. I did send you a link. I did send you a link. I hope I did. Uh, yeah, I think I sent you a link. I am loved by God. I don't know. Maybe you're at somewhere where you can't join me tonight, but I did send you a link. All right, I'm gonna start this over. My computer went blank. I know you were seeing it, but I wasn't seeing it. Okay. And this, you could check him out. He has a book. He'll mention the book. I forgot what the book was. And this is his channel, The Beauty of Your Existence. All right, so one more time.
Think about this. So wild. Most things that you think exist do not. So if you believe something exists outside of nature, the reality around you, meaning the fabric, the air, the skin, your body, everything. If you think something exists outside of this, you're just in this crazy illusion. Like, first of all, how crazy is that? What a odd statement. But there is only motion and consciousness in this entire universe. You can deduct this down, and this will be the answer. I guarantee this. And so nothing exists outside of this. So who are you? Do you believe in your name? Wouldn't that be absolutely wild if we actually believed in our name?
Okay, I just want to touch on this before we go any further. So he's saying if we believe anything exists outside of us, we're delusional. And he's saying it's just consciousness and motion and consciousness. So in other words, he's saying we're just consciousness, and when he said motion, it's frequency, it's energy, frequency, motion. You know, those are words we use interchangeably. It's energy, vibration, um, frequency. That's who we are. Anything out of that is an illusion. I know this is so hard for us to grasp. So what we are nature. And and it seems that nature is just consciousness. And it seems that there's that universal consciousness, and then there's that divine consciousness. I'm not gonna. We're studying that right now in the Christ letters, and when we go deeper, we'll refer back to the video. But it's just we're just consciousness, be we're just consciousness according to this creator. We're just consciousness and energy. We're just consciousness vibrating at a certain level. So I know it's hard to say that everything around us, everything that our eyes are showing us does not exist. It's just consciousness and energy. It really does not really doesn't. In the deep of deepest, it really doesn't. This, according to him, it's just matter, it's just space. Wrap your mind around that. So if you're in your home and you're looking at your house, you'd be like, deep ministry, I'm looking at my house, I'm looking at my cars. It's just energy vibrating at a certain frequency. Or what exists is you. That's it. You are that, oh, your universe. And what does this mean for us? Don't don't get so caught up in the things. Don't get so caught up in what our basically don't get so caught up in what our physical eyes are showing us. Don't get caught up. It's according to this creator too, that we're here to understand who we are, to become more conscious. And when we say conscious, we're talking about awareness, to become more aware of who we are. We'll just continue.
Not my name. I know that I am just nature becoming aware of the universe or itself. That's very simple to understand. But
Yeah, so nature becoming more aware of itself. So you be nature becoming more of the universe. And you are your own universe. Yeah. You are your own universe. That's what it is. You are, when you become more conscious, you're trying to understand who you really are.
we have beliefs otherwise, and this is just one small one. This is the one I really want the world to hear. We have these ego like perceptions of ourselves. But you too, look at your shape. You are just energy in the path of least resistance, now aware of itself. That's all. That's all you are. Look at my cool shirt, by the way. Toroidal field, sacred geometry. That's what I'm talking about. We are that. We are just sacred geometry having the experience of reality.
Yep.
Or you can even call it God if you want. How wild.
Mhm.
That also means that nothing is stopping you.
I'm doing anything.
Nothing has ever stopped you or could ever stop you from doing whatever you want. Isn't that the most beautiful thing? This is absolutely beautiful. Not enough people are talking like this. Let's talk about reality. Let's start becoming very aware. This is all we're doing in life, is becoming more and more aware. Look at the books. Guiding poetry to a higher consciousness. We're just trying to raise the consciousness. Higher, higher. The more you know, the more you actually know the truth is who you are. You're not your beliefs, it's your mindset, really. So, enjoy that. If you like this discussion, please check out my books in the TikTok bio and join my book club. Thank you.
Yeah, I like this. I like this video. So, and his book is Guiding Poetry to a Higher Consciousness. Guiding Poetry to a Higher Consciousness. And his TikTok is The Beauty of Your Existence. All right. And I'll post the link in the description box. Yeah. So this is where reason why I brought this. I think this is where Christ letter is trying to take us. Um, and listen, if you think about it, so if we think we're our body, we think we're this personality, we think we're what our eyes show us. So if we're not this body, then sickness is not real, lack is not real. Those things aren't real. So the goal for us is to put in our mind that we are our own universe having an experience. All we have is just consciousness vibrating at a certain frequency. And oh, I wrap my mind around it. Don't get too attached to anything. Because if when you think about that you are consciousness, um, that that's correct. We're going into the Christ letters, which talk about universal consciousness. You are the purest of that universal consciousness. You are divine. That's why we're here to understand who we are. You are consciousness in its purity. So it's like I would say like you are God and you don't have to worry about too many of the details that goes on in this realm because really that's not real. What's real is consciousness. You are. You are. So don't get too attached to everything that happens in our lives, because all these things magnified is because we come into this 3D realm and we were programmed. This is all programming. Everything you see around us, it's all programming. We were programmed to about sickness and disease. Those are just programming. And if you the why we experience those, because remember, if you're all pure consciousness, which you get from that universal consciousness, the universe means one. The little of things you magnify. Remember, consciousness in its purest form is all divine. It's all divine. Every thought. I don't even think our words. I said this before. I don't think what we say with our words matter. It's your thoughts. This consciousness know your thoughts and emotions, and it magnify and it I'm not saying it magnify. It creates it. It creates it in this physical that your eyes can see it. So if we so attach to our programming, we create it. I was thinking too, this is probably what Christ says by take no thought in anything, because we're pure consciousness. We're just pure energy vibrating at a certain frequency. We're just consciousness vibrating at a certain frequency. Take no thought. Just go about your day, know who you are, enjoy. Don't get too attached to, especially to the negative things, especially to what you see. See everything as you're just a participation, or it's in your world and you're looking at it. Remember, it doesn't matter if I say how are you and you're like great, and your heart and your mind is like I'm not great, you're depressed, and that's what manifests in your realm. It doesn't matter if your mouth want to say oh great you are, or oh you're feeling great. It doesn't matter. It's your consciousness. It's your consciousness, what you're thinking in your heart, what's in your mind. That's what's manifesting in your realm. That's what manifesting your realm. And I saw a video today. I sent it to you. I am loved by God. All these celebrities, they know that. They know that. They know that this. I remember when Jim Carrey says, "I'm not really here. I am not me." That's what Jim Carrey says. This is what he's talking about. You're not your personality. You're not the person you're looking at in the mirror. You're not a human being. And I think Joe Dispenza say, you're not a human being. You're a superhuman being. That you transcend what you I see. That's who you are. And you're so powerful. Oh my gosh. Can we wrap that mind around it? That we're so powerful that we're creating everything we do in this realm. This is our creation. Your children, your husband, with our mind and our thought, we're creating it. It's just energy. All this, the house, the physical things that's made by man don't really exist. It's just consciousness, mind. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go into, let me hear your comments. Let me hear your comments if you see this video. It's a lot to wrap your mind around. You have to have an understanding. So you don't really get attached to the things, I'm sick. Don't get attached. That's not who you are. Don't get attached to these things. You're not poor. You're not sick. Excuse me. So this, yeah, you're not poor, not or you're not sick. You're a divine being. You're pure consciousness energy. Your consciousness energy. Your consciousness. That's what. Take no thought. Take no thought in what you shall eat and what you shall drink. Just be and let the as Doris Cannon said, let the universe bring everything to you. That's what the Bible tried to tell us. Take no thought in what we shall eat or what we shall drink. All right, so last week we talked about universal consciousness and what is universal consciousness. And I'm gonna start here because it was so deep. It was so deep. So where we start. I want to start. Uh, let me see. Uh, let's start right here. Um, and Christ's letter says to fully understand the nature of creation. Did I share the screen? Let me share the screen. Hmm. Is it not sharing? It always does that. I am seeing Xbox, but I'm not seeing I'm seeing Xbox. I'm not seeing. Okay. So it says this is to fully understand the nature of creation, the reasons why the ego function as it does, why created entities feel the urges they feel. It must be understood that the nature and quality of universal consciousness is radiant joy, fulfillment, and happiness. So the nature of universal consciousness is radiant joy, fulfillment, and happiness. This is what I intend, this is what I termed the kingdom of heaven within you, within your soul, within the deepest recess of your psyche, which is the intermediary between the radiance of your soul and the shadow of self ego. And this is what got us last week talking about. So I went and looked what was psyche? What's the meaning of the word psyche? And it says psyche means your spirit, your soul. Because we were thinking, we were trying to think, psyche means your mind, but it seems it also means your mind. It seems it also means your mind. But I know in our physical self, I think we're trying to think when we hear these terms, psyche, mind, consciousness, conscience, soul, and all that. It's like our physical self can help but trying to say, so what is this? What is that? What is that? But if we look at it, Um, Psyche, mind, soul, it's like talking about the same thing. Because I know soul, when you look at the etymology of soul, it's trying to talk about your conscience, your mind, you know, your psyche, your mind. So it says, this is what I termed the kingdom of heaven within you. So he's talking about universal consciousness is radiant joy, fulfillment, and happiness. And this is what he called the kingdom of heaven within us, within our soul, within the deepest recess of your psyche, which is the intermediary between the radiance of your soul and the shadow self of ego. So this is what it's talking about, not the psyche, it's talking about universal consciousness. This is what it's talking about, the universal consciousness. That is what the kingdom of heaven is within us. It's within our soul, within the deepest recess of our psyche. And this universal consciousness is the intermediary between the radiance of your soul and the shadow of the self ego. So we see here it talks about the shadow of the self ego. This self ego, this me, this I, this who we think we are, is just a shadow of our true self. It's just a shadow of the soul, of what the soul is. And this is what most of us are living, where the ego is um is so prominent in our lives. It's just a shadow of of our true self. And the universal consciousness is that intermediary between the radiance of our soul and the shadow of or and the shadow self of ego. It's just a shadow self. It's not real. This is what I termed the kingdom of heaven within you. Oh, I said that already. To return to the transcendent state of glorious, beautiful, happy, harmonious being is your soul's deepest longing. So this is what our soul wants. Our soul wants to be in a state of equilibrium. Beauty, happy, harmonious being is your soul's deepest longing. It is the enduring longing, this inborn, unconscious recollection of the equilibrium and peace, joy and harmony, which through the psyche prompts the ego to manipulate the environment on your behalf. So this is Christ is just talking about the ego and how the ego, why the ego operates the way it does. Um, it's our soul longing. It's the longing of our soul to be in that place of equilibrium, that place of peace and joy and harmony, which through the psyche prompts the ego to manipulate the environment on your behalf. So all the ego is trying to do, and this is why the ego is called a shadow self, because it's trying to manipulate this world that we're living in to bring us that joy, that peace, and that happiness. That's what it's trying to do because it's still connected in a way to our soul, and our soul is longing. Our soul is who we true are, and our soul is trying to get us to that place of equilibrium, of peace and joy and harmony and all that. And through the psyche, through the mind, that intermediary between the psyche and our true soul, just trying to manipulate this realm. Um, Maybe hoping, I mean, I'll even say hoping, um, and I'm thinking the psyche and manipulation is just our subconscious. It's just our subconscious. It's just our subconscious. Just try to whatever you give it, it tried to work with it. You just that's who our subconscious is. We see, we our mind, how we see that car, we see that house, we see whatever we think can give us that peace and joy and harmony. That's what the ego does. That's what our ego is telling the subconscious. Listen, if you get this house, you'll be happy. If you get this new car, you'll be happy. If you get a new man, you'll be happy. And that's just what the ego does. To know when we transcend the ego, we know that at the core of who we are is when we unite with our soul, when our soul, our true self is in control. When we understand that we're not whatever the physical things we see with our eyes, whatever ego wants, is just a shadow of who we are. And the things we see with our eyes, according to the creator earlier, listen, that's that's not even real. It's not real. All this all this that we're seeing with our eyes, and the ego is manipulating everything for us to get it. It's not real. That's why the Bible try to tell us, listen, you're in the world, but you're not of this world. If your ego try to manipulate this world to give you harmony and balance, you will never get it, because that's not where true harmony and balance comes from. That's not what having true harmony. You could get one car for a moment. You might be happier for a week, and then the next week you'll move on to something else. You get a new shoes, a new dress, and for the moment, yeah, you like it or whatever, and then you move on to something else. These are just ego-driven things that's want to please us, to bring us joy and happiness and peace. Okay. So its consistent purpose is to bring you back to your primal original state of glorious ecstasy, out of which you drew your soul, being, and form. It's the prime. Look what we came from. Our original state of glorious ecstasy. That's our original state, out of which you drew your soul, your being, and your form. Mm. Let me read this paragraph again. It is this enduring longing and inborn unconscious recollection of equilibrium and peace, joy and harmony, and unconscious meaning we're not aware of it. We're not aware of it in that's where we were. That's where we were, which through the psyche prompts the ego to manipulate the environment on your behalf. Its consistent purpose is to bring you back to your primal original state of glorious ecstasy, out of which you drew your soul, your being, and your form. But the ego can bring about your desired joy and pleasure only by means of the two magnetic emotional bonding rejection impulses, which are only materialized impulses to give you your individuality. This is all the ego can do. only by the means of, magnetic. If you've been following these Christ letters, we talk about magnetic. It's the emotional aspect of us, bonding and rejection, and we explained what bonding and rejection impulses are. Those are the things we see in our lives daily, where the ego accepts some things um, and selfishly to help us get back to thinking that it's helping us to get back to that state of equilibrium, and reject certain things like, oh, I'm not talking to that person. Oh, if I don't talk to this person, I'm gonna be okay. You know, the ego constantly wants to protect us. Whatever we want, so the ego don't even ask any question. It's just it try to give it to us. These are the impulses that we use daily, either to accept people in our lives or to hold on to things that we think can bring us safety. Like a big one is hoarding, or sometimes even relationships. We hold on to people, hoping for them to bring us what we think we're lacking in our lives you know. So this is what bonding rejection impulses are, which are only materialized impulses to give you your individuality. Therefore, the inborn longing to rejoin the source of being is experienced in the electromagnetic parameters of thought and feeling as more of what give you a pleasurable feeling previously. More friends, more car, clothes, etc. Each time the more has been achieved, there's is a little glow of satisfaction. Perhaps a showing off to the neighbors to heighten the happiness, gaining one upon them, and another little glow. And then the novelty dies away. The new possession becomes mundane. The senses are again at rest. In equilibrium, mental tiredness sets in, routine becomes dull and boring. To generate some life, the ego finds another goal to be achieved to provide excitement and pleasure. Thus, life is an endless chase for personal satisfaction of various kinds, leaving the hidden soul starved, unsatisfied, still longing for something more. But what is it? But what is it my deepest self is craving? You ask in desperation. What is it your soul is craving? Let me tell you, sometimes I can feel my soul craving for something spiritually. If you're on this journey, you could know your soul once more. I can't understand it. Nothing in this world gives you a satisfaction, probably like going into meditation, or probably reading something about consciousness and energy and all that. Our soul is directing us. We have to understand that. So, what is our deepest self is craving? What is it craving? When a person reaches an understanding of the true source of emptiness and continual inner craving for more of what made me feel good before, and begins to meditate to make contact with that which brought him or her into being, a little of the divine equilibrium filters through the human consciousness. Yeah. This is what happened to some of us, who people called us like the so-called consciousness movement. This is what happened to us. When we make that step to know that there's more to this world. Our soul keep calling us and be like, there's more to this world than what you see in your eyes. This something about this world can't be all and the all, and what you've read in church in the Bible has to be more. and you begin to meditate, and you, as it says, we come into contact with that which brought us into being. And a little of the divine equilibrium filters through the human consciousness. And that little, I can remember my experience that let me hold on to this. You know, it's just that little when you and it could be just when you get out of meditation, how you feel good. You just have a different feeling. You feel rejuvenated. You just feel there's a feeling about when you get out of meditation, even if you're not doing it right. I remember I wasn't even doing it right, but something. And two, just when I remember just that just a spirit that comes over you when you call on the God of your being. One night, I just call on the God of my being, and oh my God, it's just something that came and it grabs you, and it grabs you, and then you be like, oh my God, there's more to this, but more to us than this physical being. There's more than this world that we see in our eyes. There's more to this world that we see with our eyes. That's our soul calling us higher, calling us for more, calling us to understand who we truly are. That's what we call it, raising our consciousness. And it says the emptiness begins to recede. If indeed such a person catches a true glimpse of the eternal and the true goal in life, the longing for more possessions will eventually die a natural death. And this is our goal. This is our goal. This is our goal for earthly, the longing for earthly possessions. If they come, they come. And that's why the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things will be added. All these things will be added. We don't have to crave them. Once we find that kingdom of heaven within us, they just come. Take no thought. Oh, I need a new house. Just be in the presence. It just like we have to watch the birds, just like how they go about their business. They don't work, they don't make a house, look for a house, they don't build a house, they don't go out there and steal. They just be birds. Let us be that these consciousness beings that we came here to be, to spread love, joy, and unity to everyone. Let us just be that. And we don't even have to worry about, oh, the light bill or the what, everything will be taken care of. Take no thought. And that's what we have to do. That's the time to go. That's going back to nature. That's going back to who we really are. Yeah, the desire for more possession will gradually placed with a sincere appreciation of what you already have and a sense of consistent contentment through experiences of the miraculous interventions or activity of divine consciousness within the daily life. The human consciousness is greatly uplifted and learn that its daily needs are met in the very best way. Faith is increased and joy enhanced. This is what the optimal goal is. This is what it is. So when the desire for all that this possession is decreased, it's replaced with appreciation of what you already have and a sense of consistent contentment through experience of the miraculous interventions or activity of divine consciousness with the daily life. The human consciousness is greatly uplifted and learns that its daily needs are met in the very best way. Faith is increased and joy is enhanced. That's who we are. That's our goal. This is why I've said to you, I have not come to teach you positive thinking, to draw into your orbit the things you want and need. Isn't that manifestation? I hear people talk about manifestation all the time. Oh, you think this and you think that, and bring things into your life. This is not what Christ is talking about. This is not what it is talking about. It's coming into contact with who you are, raising your consciousness. When you raise your consciousness, you are aware of who you are. This body is not who you are, is not who we are. This is not who we are. We are consciousness beings vibrating at a certain frequency. God lives within us. We don't have to look outside ourselves for nothing. This world have turned everything that we believe about ourselves upside down. Oh, God is in heaven up there. I heard somebody said, only thing up there is water. The only thing up there is water. No, he's within you. We're not separate from God. We don't have to look outside of ourselves to find peace and happiness. We just have to go within, meditate, pray, give. I like your testimony today, my sister. I am loved by God. I give everything to the source of my being. I give my thoughts
Yes.
to the source of my being. I give everything to the source of my being. Is within me. My soul, me and my soul are the same. My soul it wants the same thing for me. When we're outside of this world, we want what our soul wants. But because we're in this world, we want what the world shows us. Our true selves is our soul. Our true selves is our soul. We don't have to, we just have to have gratitude and appreciate everything that we have around us, the birds, the trees, everything that we have around us. This is why I've said to you, I have not come to teach you. Oh, I already read that. I have come to you expressly to lead you back into the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, this is what Christ is saying why he came. He came to lead us back into the kingdom of heaven. However, it is not only in the matter of desiring more possessions for yourself that your soul is bound down within its secret dwelling place. The ego also uses the magnetic emotional drive to repel, reject, to ensure your individuality, your privacy, and safety. Okay, so it's not only in possessions. Um, why our soul is bound down. And listen, if you read the scripture, he was wounded for transgressions. He was bruised for iniquity. The chastisement of his peace, of our peace was upon him. And by his stripes we were healed. What is that talking about? What is that talking about? Our soul. That's talking about our soul. That's talking about our soul. That's what that is. It is. When I see what Christ here say here, listen, however, it is not only in the matter of desiring more possession for yourself that your soul is bound down. That your soul is bound down. Our soul is bound down. Let's listen, let's think about it. We're binding our soul. because our soul is doing one thing, the true aspect of us, the true spiritual aspect of us is doing one thing and we're doing another. They're just our soul is like, come on, come on, Debbie. Those are just possessions. Tap into your spirituality. Tap into who you are. And we'll be like, no, no, no. I'm looking at Trump, and Trump's gonna help me. Biden's gonna, and Kamala's gonna do so and so for me. Oh, and I'm gonna get that promotion at my job, and my job is gonna be like, I'm gonna get that perfect husband, and my husband's gonna do this for me. You know, that's the tug of war we're at with our soul. That's what that scripture is about. By his stripes we were healed. We are going to be healed by his stripes. We're going to come together. We're going to come together. We have to come together and overcome, you know. This impulse takes an on numerous, okay. So um it's not the only thing bound in our soul is possessions. The ego also used the magnetic emotional drive to repel and reject, to ensure your individuality, your privacy, and your safety. This impulse takes on numerous forms designed to give you a feeling of superiority, of elitism, of our protecting you from people whom you consider to be undesirable or having less social status than yourself. This ego drive is practiced continually and was thought to be the perfectly acceptable, even, say that again. This ego drive is practiced continually and was thought to be perfectly acceptable, even by the churches, even by the churches. So when we see people acting this way, or when we are acting this way, let me say that. We know our ego drive is in control. Mm. This impulse, so the ego use the impulse of magnetism, that impulse of magnetism to repel and to reject. And all it's doing, all this ego think it's doing, it's ensuring our individuality, our privacy, and our safety. And it takes on numerous forms designed to give you a feeling of superiority. When you feel superior, elitism or protecting you from people whom you consider to be undesirable or having less social status of yourself. That's all ego.
Mm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
mhm, all ego. I complain all day when I go around in these gated communities. I know you want to say I'm jealous, whatever. I'm not even jealous, but it's so nonsensical. Huh? I was joking
Mm-hmm.
with my husband on Friday. There's a movie, I forgot, it's the mall cop or something, and this security guy was protecting the mall or whatever. And I'm like, what if somebody really want to get into these places? They can't even stop them.
True.
It's like they want a pint of blood to go into this community. I don't know. It just irritates me from all my being. It just irritates me. I don't know why. What are you protecting? The Bible tells us if I don't watch over the city, the watchman watches in vain. Undesirable, you know, feel superior and all that. This is just the make. I'm not blaming the people living the community. I'm blaming society. Society has played with our mind and our thought to be fearful of the Joe Brown down the street, to be fearful of black men. Oh, they're gonna rob your purse. Oh, they're gonna steal from you. You know, be careful of your neighbors. Be careful. Fear, fear. You're better than. You're less than. We have to get out of this. This wasn't. Our ancestors wasn't doing anything similar to this. Our ancestors never did anything like this. Oh, the boogeyman is coming. I remember when I first came here, somebody told me, oh, a patient told me, oh, they used to tell me, back in the day, they used to call Black Panther or something. And she was like, oh, they used to say the Black Panther is coming in, and they used to run and hide. And I never saw Black Panther. You know, they always have to put the indoctrination. We always have to be fearful of somebody. That's just a form of control. That is a form of control. That's why in the church, oh, the devil. The devil does, everybody has to blame except us. Hmm? Everybody else have to blame except us. Oh, the devil is this. Oh, the devil. Oh, the devil, the devil, the devil. And and when you say the devil, you're talking about yourself.
Your ego.
You're talking about yourself. When are we gonna wake up?
Mm.
You put in all those spells on yourself.
Preach.
We have to wake up. I was like listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza today. He said you're not a human. You're a superhuman. What are you afraid of? What is out there that you cannot be afraid of? Tell me. You're not even in this body. They take this body, you got into another realm in a different body, probably, or you come back. You don't die. What is it gonna take to wake us up? What is there to be scared of? No, you understand Christ's teaching. He didn't care. You can't do anything to this body. You can't touch the soul. That is who you are. We have to get up to this. And we see this ego driven superiority too, as Christ is saying in the church. Oh, Pastor's Day. Now I see pastors dressing up in kings and queens, crowns. Huh? I don't know if you ever seen them. Crown, a humble pastor. I had one, Bishop Boone, God bless his soul. His children would complain. Listen, he'll give his children go without shoes to give a church member child a shoes. No, oh, pastor, first lady, apostle, um, this and that. I'm not coming against their ministry, but we just gotta be more humble.
Amen.
Our ego, let it calm down with the ego.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down with the ego. You know, in we doing that, and as I used to say, I used to live in New Haven, um, where people get killed every day, and have more churches more than anywhere else on every corner. We'll see something wrong with that. So the more we get our walls down, the more our communities flourish. No, we have to wake up. So this ego drive is practiced continually and was thought to be perfectly acceptable even by the churches. Even by the churches. The truth
Mm.
is, When the soul begins to gain a little control over the ego drive, it will chide the human personality for its selfishness and exclusivity. It will urge the psyche towards the adoption of unconditional love and belief in universality and oneness of all people, no matter who, no matter who they may be. And this is it. This is it. And I was thinking too, this race thing, we don't understand that it benefits nobody other than the people of this world. If we think some God creates his people better than any, we're delusional. We're delusional. If we somehow think, um, oh, that's good. I know we as Black people has been through a lot. And yes, sometimes we want to see other people punished, especially when we see it's still going on. But the only thing we can do is raise our consciousness. We can raise our consciousness and affect our community, that our community will be affected too, because when we raise our consciousness, our vibrational energy, it doesn't just stay with us. Wherever we go in our community, that's going to rub off. That's going to rub off. And I can bet the I would say the God of this, I'm not going to say the God of this world, the rulers of this realm, that's what they don't want. They know what comes with a society that's aware of themselves. Just imagine a society that knows who they are. We don't need we don't participate in no election. We don't need no. And maybe we'll have election, but you better be doing something. You better not be led by your donors and special interests. You better doing things on behalf of the people, the growth of the community. Their their way they govern is going to come into question when you have a society that's knowledgeable. So our goal, that's the stripes, by stripes we're healed. This is the aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
is letting our soul take full control. This is what happens when our soul take control. So the truth is, when the soul begins to gain a little, and not even full control, a little control. The truth is, when the soul begins to gain a little control over the ego drive, I can't believe our ego been ruling us all these years. It's like I'm seeing myself, oh, even going to church sometimes and we think, oh my gosh, going to church and we don't understand how the ego was such a major part of our lives. And I'm gonna say that this ego, according I agree with Bill Donahue, this ego is this 10% that we need to take to the storehouse. It's that 10% that needs to go into the storehouse. Yeah. And the windows of heaven will open and blessings will fall down. It's not the money. It's not the money. Well, I'm not gonna say it's the money because I was throwing tides
We
too.
been saying it too. Yes.
I did
We
throw
all been a
tides.
victim. We all been a victim.
Oh, and sow the seed, and I did sow seed.
Yes, I did. I got no harvest.
I did all that. I even got cursed out sometime from the pulpit. Oh, you're not throwing your tithes and all that. You don't throw enough
Mm-hmm.
tithes. You're not bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
And God, what does the scripture say? What happened to you when you don't bring that 10%? You're not blessed, your children not blessed, you're this not blessed. Oh my God. Oh, talking about your ego. Give that 10%. Bring that 10% in. Let the ego not be in control. It's not who we are. So the truth is, when the soul begins to gain a little control over the ego drive, it will chide the human personality for its selfishness and exclusivity. Selfishness and exclusivity. It will urge the psyche towards the adoption of unconditional love and a belief in universality and oneness of all people, no matter who they may be.
Mm.
Hmm? This is it. Universality and oneness. When you say universe, one, one,
Yes. Oneness.
oneness, oneness. This division, the way this word is created, is just to appeal to our egos. It's just appealing to our egos. Mm, all right. Please, perhaps now you can more easily understand and why the creation of your individuality through the medium of the ego formed the great physical impulses capsule which produced and enclosed your human consciousness, creating both your and physical form and your human personality. And and this takes me back to the closing of our palms, the closing of our palms. So it's saying that our individuality through the medium of the ego form the great physical impulses capsule which produce and enclose your human consciousness, creating both your physical form and your personality. So when it shows us that when we pray, you know, the hands represents our ego, the self, and our human consciousness is inside and also the true our soul. So this is our ego, and this creates our personality. But just by clasping our hands, this is who we really are. This is our makeup. So inside here is our human consciousness, and in the middle, then you have our soul, everything, and the outside is just our human, our physical selves. Okay, so this is what our ego does, and that's it gives us our individuality, but it takes for, let me tell you, it magnified selves in this realm, in this 3D realm. Okay, so where we are. So the medium of the ego forms the great physical impulses capsule, which produce and enclose your human consciousness, creating both your physical form and your human personality. Since it governs your mind and emotions, thoughts and feelings, it prevents you from making contact with the source of your life and your soul.
Mm.
Hmm? This is what the ego does.
It blocks you.
It blocks you from the source of your being. It blocks you from because if we look back on the way we used to live, um, before we come into this knowledge or where we at, some of us at, it just let us think, and none of us think, oh, listen, if you get rid of this person out of your life, you'll feel good. If you don't talk to this person, that's okay. That's okay. You'll feel better. If you go out there and buy more shoes, you'll feel glorious. You'll look better than Betty if you go out there and buy more shoes. Your house is Get a bigger house. Not that anything's wrong with those things, but we're just showing how the ego moves us sometimes, been moving us in this realm. Oh, you're the manager of Bank of America, and you need to be in that community over there and keep out the scoundrels,
Mm-hmm.
you know, always trying to lift us up and always trying to for us to um keep things out of our lives and bring people in our lives for us to feel it says its purpose is for safety, for us to feel safe. So for us to have a purpose, that's what our soul is doing. But it's just doing it by not our soul, our that's what our ego is doing. But it's just doing it by things that we've been taught in this world. The actions, all these ego-driven things that going on into in this world, all these things, and it's for us to overcome. And that's what Christ said. I overcame, and you can overcome this world too. Mhm. So it's it governs your mind and emotions. I understand how it governs my mind because some things used to come in my mind and emotions, thoughts, and feelings. It prevents you from making contact with the source of your life and your soul. Get in contact with your Father, Mother, God.
Mm-hmm.
That's how our ego and that's what our ego does. Your true purpose in life is to gain the mastery of your ego by reaching out in thought and feelings to that which uh, your true purpose in life is to gain the mastery of your ego by reaching out in thought and feeling to that which you sense is behind creation and consistently asking for enlightenment. Thought and feeling to that which you sense is behind creation. And we talked about that which is behind creation, um, that which is its electricity and magnetism, it's masculine and feminine, and it's Father, Mother, God. It's Father, Mother, God.
So, teacher, are you saying our true purpose is to master the ego so it won't interfere with the creator?
Yeah, our connection with the Creator. Because
Oh,
yeah, and uh, and how does it interfere though? How does the ego interfere? Well,
um,
how you think it interferes?
by being disobedient, like being prideful, being arrogant, bitterness, unforgiveness.
Yeah, and it doesn't, and what it does, it doesn't teach us to depend on our true self and the source of our being. It is so physical. It doesn't take into consideration that we're spiritual beings. It seems as if it wants to so it makes it seems that who we are these physical beings. You know, it supplies the physical stuff and the temporary stuff, which have no benefit to us at all, other than in this realm, other than having a nice house, a nice car, and whatever. Because even when it says, you know what, Debbie, don't talk to Jane over there, you know, because you'll be better for it. That does nothing for our soul. That doesn't do anything for us raising our consciousness of vibration. So it's like it takes out the divine aspect of us. It takes out who we truly are, and that's why we can be so easily manipulated by this world and by the church because we don't know who we are. And and another thing too, says it doesn't it let it seems as if and most of us should know this, that it's true by ourselves. We're doing whatever we're doing. You know, if I say, "Oh, I'm not gonna talk to J," you know, no. If I say, "Oh, I'm getting a house and whatever, whatever," it doesn't take into allow us to take into to consideration that everything is coming from our soul, you know, from the source of our being. Everything is coming from a higher realm. It makes it seems like it's all self.
Hmm. Okay.
You know, because if you're say you work at Budweiser and you have this position and all that, you know, a lot of people think it's their self that let them get to that position. And you hear a lot of people, oh, you have to work hard enough. You don't work hard enough. That's why I work hard and that's why I'm in the position I'm in. You know? So that's egotistical attitude that divides and break down communities.
So we're not depending on source. Instead we're using ego.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And our goal, and as that tithe that we talk about, the 10%, that's what he says, bring it into the storehouse. Bring it into the storehouse and see if I will open the windows of heaven and pour out, you know, the blessing upon you. He was wounded for transgression. He was bruised for iniquity. Our transgress, we transgress, we our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. Mm? And by his stripes we're healed. So we come together with him. And all that causes, and remember earlier it says in, oh, they said we sin, but it's just our ego. It's just a natural part of us um taking control or that or personality. That's what they call sin. And the goal is for us to recognize when our ego is in control, when our ego is and I can feel it at times. And I'm like, and I'll go into my higher self. I'll ask the source of my being. So now I understand about the source of my being. Sometimes I don't know, even though you're in this knowledge, you could feel sometimes when the ego is trying to guide. Because even we talked about this before, even when you feel attacked, even from in your home or at work, you feel attacked. And the first thing that egos be like, defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's your ego right there. Because I was Friday, I was at work and I was talking to somebody, and the family member was like, "Oh, you need to turn and talk to me right now." And I had to calm my ego down and be like, "Okay, I'll talk to you as soon as I finish talking to this person." You know, the old me be like, "Really, you need to get out of here."
Right.
You know,
Or a few other choice words.
a few other choice words, exactly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that's our personality, sis. We just have to, and we can get rid of it. That's the thing. We can't get rid of it. We just have to
Mm-hmm.
master it. We just have to master it. And we know what we were doing. We know, the ego-driven things we do. Just have to master it. Yeah, so this is powerful right here. But what your true purpose in life is to gain the mastery of your ego by reaching out in thought and feelings to that which you sense is behind creation. That which you sense is behind creation, and consistently asking for enlightenment. And my sister here, I know you've been perfecting that. The source of your being, the source of your being. You want to call him God, that's universal consciousness. That's your mother, that's your father. That's what the source of your being. This is the first step a person must take towards that glorious moment when she will contact with the divine and move forward by means of continual cleansing of the ego drive to the re-entry into that heavenly state out of which your soul was born and took its individuality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. This is the first step a person must take towards that glorious moment when she will make contact with the divine. And you see, sis, it seems the divine can't reach us because we're so all in our ego,
Mm-hmm.
you know? We're so all up in our ego that we're man. We talk about God though, you know, God take control, God this and God that. We talk about God help us and all that. Make contact with the divine and then move forward by means of continual cleansing of the ego drive to the re-entry. So you were already there into the heavenly state. It says re-entry, to go back into the heavenly state out of which your soul was born. Your soul was born out of that universal consciousness. and took its individuality.
Mm-hmm.
You see it now, sis?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we're not separate from God. And listen, I don't care you keep commenting on TikTok or on YouTube or Facebook. Listen, we're not separate from God. I'm not apologize for saying that. If you don't get it, that's fine. Keep searching. I'm not gonna argue with you if you don't get it. So you're gonna try to convince me that I am separate from that which brought me that's which gave me my soul, as which it just says, on my individuality. You're trying to tell me that I'm separate. I, I don't know. I don't know. How you get that you're separate from God? I don't know. But that's up to you. Okay. So how did this creation of individuality come about? As I said before, universal consciousness reached a high point of mutual restraint, and an explosion took place which tore apart the impulses of creative will from the impulse of love and purpose, which separated and became active within creation as father intelligence and mother love. And also, I'm not going to stop talking about feminine and mother. Since I don't know why people get so, they can't believe that somehow femininity played a part in creation. They can't get that.
Once they get out of the ego, if they can get out of the ego, they can understand. But as long as they stay in ego mentality,
Yeah,
they won't.
exactly. Yeah, because if you think God only create men, you're in your ego.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess woman was brought by the storks. The stork brought us.
Yeah,
So,
but David the psalmist says that, when your mother and your father forsake you, then he become your mother and your father.
mhm.
So I'm just trying to
Oh,
figure
that's a
out.
good one. That's a good one. That's a good
And
one.
yeah.
That's a good one. How many of us skip over that?
Ah, okay. So it's definitely ego.
Mm-hmm. Sure is. Sure is. Sure is. Okay. And so, yes, so this is talking about how did this creation of individuality came about? As I said before, universal consciousness reached a high point of mutual restraint, and an explosion took place which tore apart the impulse of creative will from the impulse of love and purposes. And this is what is termed in society here. Christ called it an explosion between electricity and magnetism because they were in a state of equilibrium. And here on Earth, scientists call it the Big Bang, which separated and became active within creation as father intelligence and mother love, and
Mm.
seen as electricity, magnetism, bonding,
Bonding.
repulsion, electricity, magnetism, bonding, repulsion, and that gives life, reunified equilibrium as divine consciousness, and the divine consciousness is life. So this is what, oh, we were made. This is what divine consciousness And this aspect of the letters are trying to tell us the difference between universal consciousness and divine consciousness. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, if you read the Christ letters, you keep talking about universal consciousness and divine consciousness. So if you think you're separate from God, I hope you understand this. That we get, oh, the source of our being, we get our soul from that universal consciousness. So, and that divine consciousness is life, is us, matter, everything. Okay? So this is what he's saying. Therefore, far from being solid and imponderable matter, in reality, the visible world is mind. Therefore, let's say this again. Therefore, far from being solid and imponderable matter, in reality, the visible world. So this is what they call matter. And we know in school they talk about matter is everything that takes up space.
Mm-hmm.
So what our eyes are seeing, it's just matter. It's all matter. It's not solid. Therefore, it's far from being solid. We are electricity and magnetism coming together. We are not solid. This is what Christ saw when he went into the desert by his records, not by the Bible records. That's why he was so adamant about the kingdom of heaven. He saw all this. This is what he was shown. This is what he was shown when he went into the desert. We are not solid. I know our eyes show us solid, but we are not. Therefore, far from being solid and imponderable matter. In reality, the visible world is mind slash activity working always in conjunction with emotional, magnetic, bonding, repulsion, also known as attraction and bonding. And I know, I think on the law of the universe, everything is mental. So what we're seeing is mind activity. Mind activity working always in conjunction with emotional and magnetic bonding repulsion, also known as attraction and bonding. Mind activity. And you know what, Seth? Mind can be otherwise termed consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Consciousness. This is what it is. And I played that video I sent you at the beginning because I kind
Yes.
of figure out that's what these letters were going, that basically we're just consciousness and energy. We're just consciousness and energy. So all these solid things that you're seeing around us, things that look solid and all that. And anything outside of consciousness, divine consciousness, universal consciousness. I agree with that creator that's saying, guess what? It's not really important. That's just man-made things. Or do they have a consciousness? They vibrate at a lower frequency. The bed, the car, the the bed, the car, the house, the roads,
The this,
outside
the
of
that. Yeah,
the this,
material
the that, the
things.
material
Yeah.
things.
Mm-hmm.
They're just matter, and they're just um taking up space.
But
They're not. Go ahead, sis.
don't they have a saying that say mind over matter? What does that mean?
And this is it has to be your consciousness. Uh,
Oh, okay.
We just said mind can be used. You say your mind, it can just same thing as consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
same thing as consciousness. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
okay.
we have to wrap our mind around to overcome this ego, to overcome this ego. We have to understand that we're just consciousness vibrating at a certain frequency. And all these material things that we spend our times, the money is not even real. Those things, I just think they're not real in the scheme of things of who we are. What's real is us.
True. True.
Yeah,
Very true.
the trees, the water, those things are real. That's nature.
Mm-hmm.
Anything outside of nature is not even real in the grand scheme of things. It's not. So why we give it so much energy and emotion?
Mm.
So we have to get back to the
The
place where
nature.
you take no thought. Who cares? You are that this according to Joe Dispenza, you're this superhuman. You're this just superhuman. Just be still and be still and know that I am God. Just be still. Seek that kingdom of heaven and let all things be added unto us.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get into that mindset. And if we do, we don't get caught up in the ego. We live a life of gratitude, a life of thankfulness. We don't get up and worry that. And you want to hear the truth thing too with that video? Let me finish my train of thought. We don't get up every day and I don't have any money, and because those things are just matter. Those things really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And the even the visible aspect of us.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no Debbie, there's no Janet, there's no Jane, there's no man. We're just consciousness energy vibrating at a certain frequency. There's no sickness. Anything that comes with um whatever comes with the body, there's no sickness either, there's no disease.
That's a
Because
good way to look at it.
that's a way to look at it, but it takes a while for us to reprogram our subconscious to think that.
Yeah.
Everything, these disease, they give them a name, and we as creators, they're programmed in our mind. We give them that energy, we create them. So we have to renew our mind. Listen, that's not this persona. Jesus called it that name, Jesus persona. That's the name we give to him. That's not who he is. You know, this persona that we have, we're not that. We are not that. We have to claim it. And as you said, in your situation, you said, no, I don't have that. What is that? We don't have that.
That's a fact. That's a
Yeah, we
fact.
don't have that. They
Yeah,
want
that's a
you to
fact.
hold on to it. Oh, you go to oh, even let's see the big seed CV that they had the other day. We give that so much energy.
Yes, I agree.
We
Way
gave
too
it
much
we
energy.
too much energy. We were fearful of it. They create
And
it's this world is just an idea. It's just an idea. They put an idea out there and said, listen, this is an idea. This name, let me say, this name, um, Pat. Let's say Pat. This name is Pat. And it can kill you, and it's gonna let you have diarrhea, and it's gonna take your lungs and your intestinal organs. Everything just gonna make you bleed to death. That's all they do. And
Mm-hmm.
you're so fearful, and
It
you start
takes you
talking
over.
about, start talking about Pat. Oh my God, Pat's a disease that's coming, and Pat's gonna do this, and Pat's gonna do that. You give it life. You give
Yep.
it life. But remember, it's only life in this realm. It's this only life here. It's not part of who you are. It's not who you are. So any disease that's coming through our bodies, it's not who we are. I know it's going to be hard for us to really sit and think about it. But tonight, Christ is reminding us we are not solid. Our eyes only see a tiny percent of what we really look like. We're not solid. Everything is mind and emotions. That's how we create. If we think about it and put emotions to it, it manifests in this physical realm. So renew your mind. Renew your mind. We're not our disease. We're not our lack. Wherever we find ourselves today,
Mm-hmm.
we're not even that person. Sometimes I wonder what I really look like if we're not that person in the mirror.
True.
You
True.
know, what do we really look like? Okay. So it's just mind activity working always with mind/activity working always in conjunction with emotions, and that emotion is magnetic, and that mind, let me say this, means electricity, means masculine, means father. That emotion, um magnetic means um um feminine, means mother, mag mother. So that's all that is. Also known as attraction and bonding. Father intelligence, physical electricity, and mother love, physical magnetic. Bonding and rejection together produce a child, the ego.
Called ego.
This,
Woo! That's electric. That's electrifying. Oh my.
yeah.
Woo! That's
It's,
why ego's so flashy.
I know, I know, I know.
Mm. Oh my. Ego will shock you.
Hmm. Yeah. And mother love, physical magnetic bonding and rejection. They produce a child called the ego. This impulse of individuality, they just gave it to us as individuality. So we're human beings. The trees, our ego, are human. The trees, that's their ego. Water, that's how I see it. Water, it's just giving us an individuality of who we are. That's what that ego was created to do, was created to do. But
Mm-hmm.
this world um, gear everything towards their ego, and the trees and the animals, they just live their lives. They live their lives as the way they were created. But it was in this world is so geared towards our ego that we just fall short. So,
Maybe it's because the Creator gave us our dominion. So because we have dominion, we become arrogant with the ego.
Could be.
Because then now you're better than, I'm better than this, I'm better than that.
Yeah, could be. And
Mm.
and I think, but I don't think our ancestors, and this is just my opinion, had this problem with their ego, with this ego like we do. Because we grew up, most of us grew up where our families were sharing and caring. You didn't have all this walls. We if you didn't have, you could always go next door and all that. That's just my opinion. I think it's just when we fell in consciousness, we fell in consciousness. That's when the ego took over. And in order for we or maybe the ego took over and then we fell in consciousness. That could be it too, sis. Maybe when
But
the ego took over, we fell in consciousness.
our ancestors was in a higher vibration
Exactly. Than us.
than us.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be when everything start being ego driven, that's when we went in this low vibrational state.
Yeah, because if you can remember back in the day, you can have our great grandparents might have 10 children and then one little bitty house.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody in the same room.
Yeah,
Kitchen, living room, bedroom, everything was a studio.
exactly.
Now everybody have to have their own bedroom and bathroom.
And everyone was a babysitter. Your neighbor
Yeah.
was your babysitter, you know. You just go to your neighbor's house and your auntie or uncle's house, and you didn't have to pay for a babysitter.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
maybe, yeah, yeah. Maybe when they set up this ego-driven society, that's when we fell in consciousness.
yeah, you when you have to instead of walking to the store, you have to drive. You can't even
Mm-hmm.
walk, you can't ride your bike. You have to
Mm-hmm.
get in your big old truck and
Yeah,
drive.
yeah.
You gotta get in your big old gas guzzler car and drive.
Yeah, we
And
had a
uh,
we had a sense of community, even me in my 40s growing up, because I remember when I was going to high school, and you have a bunch of us, and one father would, and those days I think were daylight saving times. I don't know, but it was dark out, and we had to catch the 5 o'clock bus, and it was dark, and you would
mhm.
have one father that would stop for each of us, and we wait on that one person, and we all go to the bus. They
Yeah,
take, yeah, you didn't have to have everybody's father at the bus stop.
right.
Yeah, one
Uh-huh.
adult, and he would stop at everybody's house. You're ready. You're ready, and he took and that one individual bring everybody to the walking, really walking, not
Yeah,
driving a car. Yeah,
right.
because the bus came so early and it was dark out. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. That was a sense of a community.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, I can't even. You can't even talk to your neighbors. You can't even talk to your neighbors.
Well, not only talk to your neighbor, but if you have a pet, if your pet go in their yard or lawn, it's a problem. Eh? Yeah. So, mm-mm.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. That's how it was. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. All right. So read this paragraph and we close for tonight. He said this impulse of individuality was born and took undeviating and consistent form within the energies of creation to ensure that the various electrical forces expressed as protons and electrons and the rest of the particle gang excitedly discovered by silence should not fly off uninterruptedly into a distant formal state, but should be restrained and controlled by the magnetic bonding rejection impulses of mother love to bring about manifested form. So it's just describing how we were formed. So if you listen to this, you know that nothing about us is physical. Electrons
Absolutely.
and protons and electrons and the other particle gang should not fly off uninterruptedly into a distant formless state, but should be restrained and controlled by the magnetic, that's bonding rejection, that's our mother impulse of mother love to bring out manifested form. Science may dispute the foregoing paragraphs, since it has been at great pains to describe the various bonding process by applying different word terms to the bonding energies. Science is welcome to call the bonding or attraction energies by any term they wish, but the fact remains that these energies have taken on form from the grand and primal impulse of mother love, whose primal consciousness function is to give form and individuality. You know what, sis? You think scientists reluctant see to talk about this bonding and rejection is because they know they would have to talk about the feminine energy in creation.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'm
It's a
think
good
it came to
point.
my mind. Yeah,
Yeah, because everything they say, well, if the male sperm does not fertilize the egg, then, and yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Because
that's a good thought.
yeah, that's what came to my mind because no, people still can't fathom that. If when they listen, they think, oh, um, father, mother,
Individuality.
mother, feminine can't be. Well, I hear a lot of people be part of the creation. It's what give us our form.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very prominent in creation.
hmm You can't go around it.
You can't go around it. Yeah, you can't go around it. And that's what I think too, that's what caused that this imbalance because no one wanna acknowledge the feminine energy.
True.
Yeah, they don't wanna acknowledge.
But mother love is here to stay, and she's
Yes,
not going to change.
exactly. Exactly. That's why we call this Mother Earth too.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yep.
The, im- the impulse of Father intelligent life gives electrical momentum to creation. The impulse of Mother loving purpose gives the bonding to restrain the electrical momentum and bring it under control within the individuality. The impulse of mother loving purposefulness gives the repulsion, rejection impulse to ensure the survival of the individuality. So now we can see everything. So when we get that thought, when we get that thought is our father. Thought is our father. And we're just thinking and we're just thinking. And the purpose of the mother is to restrain that thought, that electrical momentum that because we keep giving the thoughts are electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it restrains our thoughts and bring it under control within the individuality because we're all thinking everything is mine. And not only does she does that, restrain, but she also rejects certain thoughts for the survival of the individuality, you know? So that's why when we talk about the ego, we always says it's there to protect us. It was when it the way it was created to help with our survival. And that's part of the magnetic impulses, our mother. And he says, and that is the purpose of creation. That is the purpose of creation. Science can only approach creation as a spectator, although its ambassadors are human and experience life for themselves. The human mind can only observe what has been created. It cannot enter into the intimate process of creation hidden within matter and the most basic fields of energy. Science will never be able to pinpoint the motivation factor X, which gives rise to the energies which are in control of creation of individual form. But but what science has to say on the matter of creation is of little moment to you as an individual. Science will not change your lifestyle, health, environment, personal feelings, and achievements one iota. What you need to know, and what I have come expressly to tell you, is how to escape the selfish, possessive, protective, driven, e- protective drive given to you by the ego to ensure your individuality and survival, and your inbuilt longing to return to the joy and happiness of which all creation took life. Okay. So he's just saying, listen, we don't care about what science says because it can't help us. What he wants us to know, what he wants to tell you, he came to tell us, is how to escape the selfish, possessive, protective drive given you by the ego to ensure your individuality and survival, and your inbuilt longing to return to the joy and happiness out of which all creation took life. That's what
Mm-hmm.
he came to tell us. And we're going to stop here tonight and then we'll pick up next week. We're going to pick up next week. Christ spending a lot of time on this ego drive. He's taking us back to how it was created, how this ego drive was created. You know, it's part of us. We can't get rid of it. We can't get rid of this ego.
No, but we can control it.
That's the goal. That's the goal is to control it. Is to control it. And the only way we're going to control it is raising our consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
raising our consciousness.
And raising our consciousness means not, instead of declaring lack, you declare abundance, not by what you see, but what you know,
Exactly.
because we're not living in sickness, we're living in health.
Yes. Yes. And that breaks down to, yeah, raising our consciousness. You are aware of who you are. So you can
Mm-hmm.
understand what the sister Janet just said. It just raising you, that's what it is. When you on a consciousness is an awareness of who you are. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if you hear her said that and you still think that God is outside of you, that won't help you. Or advice won't help. You have to understand that the God you're looking for is within you.
Yes.
So it is when you hear consciousness is an awareness of who you are. You are consciousness being. And just think of it. Pure consciousness. and energy. Consciousness vibrating at a certain frequency. I just see in my mind how consciousness, that means purity. It's either divine universal consciousness or divine consciousness. We're divine consciousness. We get our consciousness from the one, oneness.
Hmm. Universal.
Yes, just imagine what that means when you put in your mind that you're how conscious you are, that you're just all consciousness. You're not this what we see in the mirror. That you it just whatever your emotions, you don't have to say anything to create. You just think it in your mind. That
Hmm.
consciousness is so pure. It is, I just see it as our pure form, our pure form that we can't even lie because it's gonna create what our heart is thinking, what our mind is thinking. That's what I see it as. It just creates. If I say to my sister, you know what, and I'm deep in my soul, I'm feeling sick, and said, you know what, and she asked me how I'm doing, and I said I'm okay. And deep in my thought, I'm thinking somebody else, something else. That's what it's going to create. It's not, it doesn't care what I tell her. It's like that aspect of us is all truth. It's
Exactly.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's like it's all truth. And we don't have to, and that is according, we don't have to worry about the physical stuff because that's not who we are. And that's why she said when your consciousness, you don't when you identify with that consciousness, you don't think about sickness, but you don't think about lack because that's not who you are. We have to choose, are we gonna we're gonna identify with that divine consciousness, the source of our being, of Mother, Father, Mother God, universal consciousness. Are we gonna identify with that aspect of who we are are we going to allow the ego to tell us who we are, basically? Are our ego to take control?
Or if ego run it, then you always gonna be in lack.
Yep,
Ego run it, you always gonna be sick.
yep, yep,
It's
yep.
always gonna be opposite of who I am.
I am. Yep, yep, yep. Because we have this, and the reason why too, because we have this society that's appeasing the ego. The society that we live in appease the ego. So that's why it is important when we say raise your vibrational your consciousness of vibration. Raise your consciousness.
Hmm.
Become aware of who you are. That's what we're saying. Have a knowledge of who you really are. That's what we're saying. All right. Oh, sis, I love that testimony. Oh my God, you bring truth to me today. I love it. I love it.
Yes, yes, I have proven it.
Yeah,
Eh?
yeah. You want to share, sis? You want to share it with
I
the
am, I
audience?
am, I am, I have proven it.
Yeah.
I have literally proved it. I mean, I literally, I don't know if someone ever had like your stomach just in knots. You get
Mm-hmm.
so afraid,
Yes, that fear.
so afraid. And I just said, Father, Mother, source of my being, I give it to my higher self.
Mm.
And
Yep,
instantly, it just went away.
yep,
Until now, I have not had that feeling.
yep, yep. Yeah, that's what that is. And you know, I was meditating on this consciousness thing, and you know, I'm thinking that they keep messing with our consciousness. They know that's everything. So you see what happened to you that the other day, and and I'm thinking that CV thing that they gave everybody, they wanted everybody to take.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it was to affect your consciousness, not just you, affect our consciousness. And what happened to you is just your higher self kicking it out of your body.
It's possible. And
Yeah,
that's exactly what you want.
yeah, that's what you want. You're now getting rid of it. Gotta go.
Because
A
it
total,
really and truly it doesn't belong there. It's an
no, it doesn't.
invasion.
It is,
It's
that's when it,
trespass. It's
yeah,
trespass.
yeah, when you start really looking into this consciousness thing, because when I heard him talk about how the 5G towers mess with our consciousness, Elon Musk,
Hmm.
and I believe him. They're just telling us what they're doing. And I'm thinking today, if you weren't raising, you're raising your consciousness, so it don't you can't stay there anymore.
But even what they call a common cold, that's an invasion.
Yeah,
That's
they're all
trespass.
invasion.
That's
Yeah,
trespass.
yeah, 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 yeah. Those things gotta go. They're missing. That's what is it. Because our mind aware of them, we magnify them.
True.
Yeah,
And you know what they say, whatever you magnify will grow.
yeah, exactly.
Whatever you feed will grow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. No, we're waking up. And I pray everybody out there waking up too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out of 3D is long overdue.
Yeah, we
Long
need, yeah,
overdue,
yeah,
especially those who call themselves going to church. It's long overdue.
but
Long
I
overdue.
don't know. The church has a hook on them. Church really have a hook.
Yeah,
Have
they
a,
have to get out of it. They
yeah,
have to escape.
yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's gonna take time. I don't know if we have it, but that's gonna take time.
Well,
Uh,
hopefully we will hopefully they will come. I mean, as a body of Christ, they will come
the
to
knowledge.
the awareness of as with the five the 10 virgins, five were
Yes.
foolish and
Yeah.
five were wise. The
Mm-hmm.
five that was wise trusted in the creation, the creator,
Mm-hmm.
and the five foolish didn't have any trust because they didn't bring any oil.
Yep. Yep.
So hopefully they'll come to their senses and say, well, let me get oil in my lamp.
Mm-hmm.
Let me raise my consciousness.
Exactly. That's what that was. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Yep.
Yep. That energy, raising your consciousness.
Raising it.
That's what yes. Yes. Okay, yes, that's a good way to end this. Perfect. Perfect. No, you see the Bible in a different light. You know,
Absolutely.
you see the Bible in a different,
Absolutely.
yes, yes.
Absolutely.
It was
And you have to look at what's real and what's a story and what they was
exactly
trying to convey. You
to
have to
us.
look past what it's saying.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, 'cause, the Bible is coded
It
and you
is.
have to decode it. And the
Yes,
only way you can decode it is when you raise above and go in a different level of consciousness.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's
I was
coded.
bamboozled.
We all were.
I was bamboozled, but not no more.
We all were. That's why we're not judging anyone who still see it, because as we think our, and this is just by obedience, we hear the calling of our higher selves when we wanted more. We know there was more to what we were reading. And I know the calling is still out there for everybody, but they just have to answer that call. When the
True.
Bible talk about answering a call, this is what it's saying. This is what it's saying. You just have to wanna go against. People think you're going against what you learned before, but you're just increasing your knowledge. You're just raising your vibrational frequency.
Yeah,
That's
you
all
seek
you're
in the
doing.
kingdom. You seek
Yeah,
in the
you're
kingdom.
finding the trying to find the kingdom within. Yeah,
You seek in the kingdom. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
You're not going against what you read in the Bible, but it wasn't meant. Yes, we have to understand the divinity of God. It wasn't meant for us to stay there taking the literal word. It wasn't meant for that.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't meant. It's an introduction because it helped us to introduce. It's an introduction, and then you start going deeper and deeper, or higher and higher, wherever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stepping
Mm-hmm.
stone, the literal. And the Bible itself talk about you eating bones and drinking milk. You started drinking milk just like, when we were babies.
Yes.
We drink
Yes.
milk, then we put teeth in and we start chewing on stuff. And then we
You
get
gotta
higher.
start eat meat. Eat meat. Start eating
You
meat.
start eating meat. So
Yeah.
it's you have to grow. That's the universal law. You have to
Yeah.
grow. You have
Uh-huh.
Yeah, spiritually or otherwise, that growth has to take place. We weren't meant to go to church and sit down and listen to the pastor preach every day. No, you have to grow spiritually. It's just all the universe is made up.
But the sad thing about it, you take the Sabbath and you go and you sit, you go in and you come out, you still haven't learned anything. You go in blind and you come out blind.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you start growing, sis, you have to listen to your higher self. You have to
Yeah,
raise your
yeah,
conscious.
yeah. When you start growing,
Yeah,
but if you have not grown, you go in the same way, you come out the same way. You have people who go into the sanctuary and they tell you, some of them be like, I don't even understand what was taught today, but they
yeah,
just
because
there.
what we talked about earlier, the ego. We just went in and everybody see what we're wearing and who's at church and who wasn't,
Yeah.
you know, you know, that's what that is. That's what that is. But yeah, we just give them to the source of their being. That's what we do. And I know he's
Amen.
gonna work it out. Gonna work it out.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Oh, so Father, Mother God, we thank you. We thank you for
Yeah.
what was said and
Thank
done.
you.
Thank you for the knowledge
Grateful.
that was revealed to your children today. Father, on this platform, we always ask for your direction and your guide as we continue with this ministry. We pray for our sisters and brothers, Father, to continue to seek that kingdom of heaven within, Father, and let all things added to us, Father. We thank you also for providing for those tonight who doesn't have. We thank you for revelation, healing in the minds and every area of our lives, Father. And those who are out there sick and can't figure it out, Father, we just pray for direction and knowledge for your people. And we
Yeah.
pray for our communities and our families always. And we thank you tonight as we go forward. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Yes. Thank you. Amen. Amen. Yes, tonight was powerful,
Oh my
very
gosh.
impactful.
It's getting deeper and deeper, sis.
Go deeper, go
Deeper,
deeper,
deep, deep, deep.
deep, deep, deep.
Deep. All right, sis. Have a blessed Sunday.
All right, perfect love and good night.
Good night, sis.
All right. All right. Good night.
Night.